What's up, everybody? It's it's my moving day. I'm packing out still. Being the new office on the first, so you see videos from a different place. But yeah, today, why can't I just use cash for my down payment? Let me rephrase. Cash that I have. So what am I talking about here? Mattress money, right? Or under the mattress money, as they used to call it. Um, this used to be a thing. It still is. I get phone calls on it pretty often. Just had a guy recently. He says he wants to put $100,000 cash down. I says, fantastic. Where is it setting? Where is it at? He says, oh no, it's in a duffel bag. I said, a duffel bag. Where like, okay, where is said duffel bag? He says, to Mexico. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we'll talk about that scenario as well. Like, what does that even mean, and how do you sort it out? How do you shake that out? We'll talk about some of the myths. We'll talk about the why. But long story short, if you're looking to purchase a home um, and you got under the mattress money, we got to deal with it. A lender is going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to deal with it with the lender. And ideally, you call the lender before you found out. I found my dream home. It's the only house I've ever wanted my entire life. I just dealt with this too. And it says, where's the money for the down payment? Oh, it's in my safe. All right. Well, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a challenge. So let's talk about it. So let's say you got, I don't know, 40,000 sitting in your safe. And at the end of the day, it's your money. It's your money. Um, I, I'm not presuming that it's anything other than it's your money. And it happens to be in a safe, and you want to use it for the down payment, or you want to use it for closing costs, or whatever it is. You want to throw it at the loan in some way, right? So why does the lender have a problem with it? So let's talk about that. The problem isn't necessarily the money. The problem is trying to provide the paperwork to show where that money came from. That's the key. Where'd the money come from? Okay, because if you don't know that, if you haven't bought a home lately, or if you're looking to buy a home, one of the things you're going to find is there's a lot of paperwork. There's going to be paperwork from your agent. There's a lot of paperwork from the lender. Having $40,000 in your safe and having $40,000 that's verifiable funds are two completely different things. And it's all about the documentation. So lenders need to document the funds being used for the down payment, closing costs, required reserves, stuff like that. And they need to determine whether the money comes from an acceptable source. So I'll explain to you kind of how some of this came about. I have my own thoughts on it, but I'll tell you what I'm supposed to tell, what we're supposed to say. All right. And then I'll tell you some of my own personal beliefs, maybe depending on how froggy I get as we're making this video. So why does the lender care? One major concern is undisclosed borrower money. Okay, so you're approved based on your existing debt. This does happen where somebody says, okay, well, crap, I need to come up on 40 grand. Well, I'm going to secretly borrow some money from somebody and create a debt. And then I'm going to just slide this money into my account. And this is why lenders tell you, don't deposit anything. Don't sit there and say, well, yeah, I got 40,000, then you just deposit it. Or even gift money. This is another big one when you start talking about gift money. Your sister's cousin's uncle or whoever, let's say your sister, that's easier instead of starting to go down the lane there. Your sister wants to give you $40,000, okay? If she gives you $40,000 in a check or whatever it might be, and you deposit it into your account without calling your lender, it can cause challenges and complications because we got to verify where that money came from. That includes going to your sister's accounts and pulling her information and looking at did the 40,000 come from your sister? Now, are there ways to deal with that when it comes to gift funds specifically? The answer is absolutely yes. If you don't deposit that money into your account and your sister does a gift letter saying she's going to gift you $40,000 and she wires that money directly to escrow, then I, as a lender, don't need to look at her accounts. I'm going to say that again. If your sister wants to gift you money and she does a gift letter of $40,000 or any amount of money, and she wires that money directly to escrow, I, as a lender, am not required to go and ask your sister for all of her accounts and all of her bank statements in order to see and confirm that that $40,000 came from her account. However, if you deposit that money into your account, then I need to see that it came from your sister and her account. Okay, so it's important. So yeah, long story short, you secretly borrow $40,000. The new loan comes with another monthly payment. Now it messes up your DTI. So the lender needs to know that the money is actually yours or comes from another permitted source of some sort. The key is it needs to be your money in some way, or a gift. It can't be another debt. Okay, so the $40,000 cash problem. You deposit $40,000 cash right before buying the house. The bank statements simply say cash deposit of $40,000. And that's what it's going to say. It's just going to say deposit. It doesn't, I've had people tell me verbally, oh, well, I saved this up for 15 years or whatever else. Here's the thing. I like you. And I've said this before. I like you. I think you're a nice person. Oh my gosh. Becky, you're awesome, Becky. And I believe you. I believe that $40,000 was your money. And you know what? Becky, if it were my money if I was loaning you the $500,000 or $1 million to purchase this home, I'd say you were good for it. However, Becky, if I had that kind of money, I wouldn't be talking to you. I would be on a yacht. I would be on a yacht somewhere, and you'd end up talking to somebody just like me that would be looking out for my money and making sure that it's legit. It's legit cash, right? So this is what the underwriter does. They're going to say, okay, cool, it's your money. I trust you. Let's verify it. That's it. They're going to be prove it. Show me. So if there's no bank statement showing where the physical cash came from, you can't say it was sitting in my safe and write a deposit like that. You're basically saying, hey, trust me, bro. We're good. And that's not going to fly. Not with the bank. They aren't going to do it. So what does sourcing mean? Where did the money come from? That's all sourcing is where did it come from? Show me. Is it a paycheck into the bank account, savings account, investment account, documented sale of an asset? And I do deal with this quite a bit as well. Somebody sold a car or somebody sold a something, right? If you sold a something and you could show that sale receipt of some sort, we could take that. Is it an eligible gift? That's what we're looking for. Okay. Now let's get into the thing. This is what a lot of agents will say to clients. They get into the seasoned money thing or the deposit thing. We'll talk about the deposit thing too, because the deposit thing can cause you more trouble. Don't listen to people that don't. I hate saying don't listen to people that they don't know what they're talking about. Here's the challenge. Most people don't buy homes that often. So they don't deal with this as often as I do. This is all I do every day, 6 days a week. So of course, I'm going to be aware of it. You're not going to be aware of it. So a lot of people, when they're in a pinch or in a spot, they start asking questions to people that they think should know. And it's usually friends and family that give really bad information. So we're going to talk about what's seasoned money. Money, okay? This is what people often say. Money has to be seasoned for 60 days. That's a huge oversimplification. Just because you took money out of your safe, deposited it into your account, and let it set for 60 days doesn't mean that it's good money. Asset verification and large deposits are requirements. Okay, they're going to vary loan to loan. Different loan programs are going to require different things, but the basic concept is money already documented in your account is generally much easier to deal with than giant unexpected deposits. So again, it's like, oh well, just deposit the 100,000 to 40,000. We'll wait 60 days, 2 months, and then you're good. Not necessarily, because the bank is still going to go where did it source from, where did it come from. So this is what a lot of people have asked me. Actually, not a lot of people, a few people that are smart, because this is really smart. When you talk about Dodd-Frank, and I think I've done videos on Dodd-Frank before, or the PATRIOT Act, you have to, the lending institutions changed after the crash. Lending institutions changed after the crash. Okay, so some people bring up, okay, is it the PATRIOT Act? Partially, but don't get too confused on it, right? Mortgage underwriters have rules and documenting acceptable funds, right? So banks to include myself, banks run under federal law. I'm federally licensed. That's your Bank Secrecy Act requirements. Anti-money laundering, that's the big one. Okay, that's the big one. Anti-money laundering and the U.S. Patriot Act. Some people I've had mention, shoot, I was just sitting here thinking about it. Not so much about the money laundering. Terrorists, right? So that brings us back into the Patriot Act stuff. A lot of people think, okay, well, is it because they're trying to track it for terrorists? Well, partially. I guess that's one way of looking at it. But the big one is really the money laundering, okay? So the financial system is designed to detect money laundering, suspicious financial activities, terrorist financing, and other financial type crimes. So this is where red flags start popping up as you deposit stuff. So this brings me to what I wanted to talk about, which is the $10,000 thing, the $10,000 deposit under 10. So just know that if you end up calling me or somebody like me and we start saying, hey, we need to show where these funds came from, how they're sourced, and all this other stuff, we're not saying you're a freaking terrorist, okay? And I've had some odd ones. I recently work with a lot of different clients from the Middle East. I've spent a lot of time in the Middle East. I get along very, very well and work very well with a lot of my Middle Eastern clients. And on occasion, some flags will go up because of the way the banking systems work, specifically Jordan. Sometimes there's some challenges with trying to verify income from Jordan or some of these other countries as they're being transferred to American currencies into the American banking system. It's just about the paperwork. Nobody's accusing you of being a terrorist. Nobody's accusing you of money laundering. It's just the bank needs to have verifiable income. It simply is that, right? So don't get too freaking mad. Oh my God, this is awful. It's just, it's just part of the process. You just got to work through it. So this is the $10,000 myth. I've heard this thing and it gets me so freaking irritated. So let's use the $40,000 one again as the example. I got $40,000. I've heard that if you deposit more than $10,000 at a time, it's illegal. So you know what? I'm going to deposit $9,000 and then nobody's going to notice. False. I just told you that the financial institutions, there's literally built-in systems to try to catch stuff like this. So I would rather have a conversation with somebody to say, if you got $40,000, let's figure out how to put that in. In fact, you can deposit that money into your account. They're going to make note of it. I can't remember the exact word it's called, but they got to basically make note of it. They don't start like going after you for your taxes or IRS. So that's another one. Oh, well, if I deposit this money, they're going to hammer me for taxes. No, they're not. If it were me, if I had $40,000 in my safe, and I had been saving it over 15 years, and I just basically said, no, this is my money that I saved over all X number of paychecks over the last 15 years, and it's already been taxed. Mind your own business. So it's not so much the IRS as opposed to trying to ensure that, again, going back to money laundering, going back into terrorism, things like that. So they'll make note of it, but it's not like, well, it'll raise a flag. Maybe. But you know what'll really raise a flag? If you start making like 4 or 5 different deposits under $10,000. Just saying. You might as well just take it, pop it in there, call it good. Because no matter what, so here it is. Well, seasoned money, it doesn't matter. If you deposited $40,000, but you broke it up thinking that you were going to get past the bank, you're gonna get over on the federal government, partner, you're not only are you going to get flagged, but you still have to deal with the problem. Every deposit, we're going to see it on your bank statement and go, what are these? Where'd that money come from? For the tune of about $40,000 in the last week, 2 weeks, hell, even a month. What's going on here? It's unverified money. All right, so you got to keep that in perspective and definitely keep thinking about it. So I already talked about the tax part, right? Yeah, so I'm sort of looking at some of my notes, make sure I don't get too off target, because if you watch some of my other videos, stuff that I could probably knock out in about 5 minutes takes me like 45 minutes. So it just keeps me on target. So best advice for buying a house, call your MLO. Whoever your mortgage loan originator is, which is what I do, right? If you call me first, talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Don't just deposit $40,000 under the mattress money. Don't borrow money without talking to an MLO. Don't move funds from 5 different freaking accounts. Oh, Lord, please don't do that, because we have to track all of it. I deal with that a lot, actually. Oh, well, I have these four, five, six. I just dealt with a guy. He had 28 different businesses. I had to go through his financials with his lawyer. And before he and his lawyer got through everything, he just started moving freaking money around. What he doesn't understand, that just adds so much time, because now I got to look through all of it and track all of it and show where it all freaking came from and where it all went. The reason why, leading up to getting to the underwriter, is I want to be able to hand the underwriter a nice, super clean, easy file. Here's why. If it's not super clean and easy, the underwriter has an opportunity to sit there and start going, I'm curious. I'm going to condition more stuff because I want to see more stuff. It makes them want to look at more stuff. If you just make it really clean, this is the income, here's the debt, here's where it came from, here's where it went, here's when it happened, here's a letter of explanation to explain why we did this, this, and this. Here's the file. Oh, approved, limited conditions, fantastic. We're going to get you to the house a lot faster. So again, call your loan originator or your licensed lender, right? Your loan officer. We have so many different weird names. Call them. Call them first before you start just moving stuff. Otherwise, you're going to create basically an underwriting nightmare. And I'm telling you, not only is it going to take a hell of a lot longer to get the loan closed, but right at the end, which I've had happen with very complicated files, especially if they're a little bit dirty because the client wasn't really working with me, then you get put into QC. And if you don't know what QC, for those people that don't know, quality control. And then just throw on some extra time. They are not in a rush to ensure that it's done. Well, Kris, you don't understand. We got a contract. Oh, I understand. I understand you created a contract with your agent with another agent that you didn't take into consideration the loan side, and you didn't talk to me beforehand. You just did some stuff. And now we got to figure out how to clean it up and make it look good to the underwriter so they'll give you money to buy the house because you didn't save enough money to buy the house in cash. That's real. So takeaways here. Cash isn't automatically bad. It's not a bad thing, okay? Having cash isn't illegal. The lender isn't automatically accusing you of anything. It's strictly just an issue of documentation. So, when buying a house, it's not enough to just say, I have the money. You got to make sure, where did the money come from? That's what we're looking for. So, closing. If you got $40,000 sitting in your safe, congratulations. You've got $40,000. It's real money, USD, right? But when you're getting a mortgage, having the money and being able to document the money are two completely different things. Before you move a dime, call somebody like me. Call your loan officer. That's all I got. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And good luck with that under the mattress money. Talk to y'all later.